What's up, guys? So I was looking through a question today that someone asked me about how I work through mental struggles or self-doubt. Interesting question. I think we all deal with those at times. I know I do. Gosh, I'm 48. I deal with having to work through guilt over past decisions, sometimes that, like as far as my health goes, have left me where I'm on medications I don't want to be on. But, I also realize too that it's the result of bad decisions. And so, sometimes there's a feeling of guilt I have to work through. Sometimes I deal with self-doubt being 48 and knowing that there are times that I could have pushed harder when I was younger. I get little things like that. A lot of times my biggest mental struggle is making sure I keep the past where it belongs, in the past. And I have struggled in the past with being a little bit of a perfectionist. And so, I don't handle mistakes very well. And that's something I've had to grow through. So, my biggest hurdle has been to put perfectionism aside because it's the enemy of progress. Anybody will tell you that has had to learn that lesson the hard way. And when I did that, it really kind of opened me up to believe I could pretty much accomplish anything that I set my mind to. You see, not only are things in the gym, things with our diet, all of life really, a lot of it is done in the mind long before you ever see an outward result of it. The amount of weight you push, the amount of reps you do, you need to be locking that down in your mind long before you actually grab the weight. And so, for me, it's a matter of being stubborn, and I'm notoriously stubborn. So, when it comes to weight training and things, it's a matter of making up my mind, looking at myself in the mirror and saying, all right, man, you're gonna do this. You can. You've had times in the past where you've gotten close. So that means you've got a foundation to work from. For instance, if you knock down, say 220 on bench and you did it 10 times, then you should be able to max out 275, possibly even 300, depending on, what your normal regimen is. So you work off that foundation. Well, if I can knock out 225 10 times, then I obviously can go higher up. Maybe not get it 10 times, but I could get it 2. I could get it 4. And so, you build off of past success. Make sure that the mistakes that you made in the past are lessons and not huge moral dilemmas that you just can never recover from. That was my biggest struggle, is feeling like a simple mistake was the end of the world. There were times in my childhood that mistakes were not easily forgiven, and so it created a set of eggshells for me to walk on for a long, long time, and I had to really push past that. Mistakes are inevitable. It's part of being human. And for some crazy reason, I just had it in my head I could not make those mistakes. And so once I gave myself the freedom to do that, once I started building off of past success, a lot of my mental hurdles are easily defeated from then on. There are times I doubt myself, that happens when you make mistakes. It's like, I didn't make it last time, But then you grit your teeth and you buckle down and you're like, no, I may not have done it last time, but it's going this time. Or I'm going to succeed this time where I may not have last time. You make adjustments and you push through, you persevere. Gosh, I feel like I'm all over the place with this tonight, but it brings up a huge wave of emotion when it talks about, when I talk about how I've overcome my own hurdles, especially mental hurdles. I mean, if you've beaten it in your mind, it's a downhill slide to beat it in reality. So if you're looking at that squat rack and you're pushing for a new PR, you've got to see yourself doing it long before you actually do it. And there are going to be doubts, hey, what if you drop it? What if you do this? What if you do that? And you have to set those aside. Throw them in the fuel of your passion to better yourself. Make up your mind and, well, as they say, do the dang thing. That's kind of how I take it on a daily basis. I have made up my mind to embrace the hard. It's not easy all the time, but I push through it. And you make up your mind to do it. Self-improvement, you're going to face times of self-doubt, but it's a matter of making up your mind and pushing past that. Because on the other side of self-doubt is usually a pretty big self-victory. And so I would leave you with that. I know that's how it's worked for me. Usually in the biggest area where I doubt myself the most, when I push through that, make up my mind to push past it, I find some of my best victories. So hope that helps. But that's how I tackle it. That, and I depend heavily on discipline, creating the right habits and letting the habits take over sometimes when my mind doesn't always want to follow. By the time I've thrown some weight around, next thing you know, I'm fully engaged, and that's when stuff starts happening. So blessings to you. I hope this brings value. Nothing but love for everybody out there. Have a good night.